Hello again, beautiful beings. I hope that you enjoy this video. This is from my 4-part series with my dad when we went to Mount Shasta. I will be posting 2 of these videos on YouTube, and I will be posting the other 2, along with these 2, onto the membership platform. So be sure to check out the ElizabethApril.com Cosmic Society membership for more epic content. Actually, so much content is there. So if you have a topic in mind or you have a question you want to ask, just go to the website, type it in the video search, and you'll be sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Enjoy, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more epic content. Bye for now. All right, so it's November 15th, 2022 at 8:20 in the morning.
Right.
And we're in Area 51. Technically. I mean, that could be it over there. Or over there. Don't look.
No.
Pay attention.
Right. Good pointing.
But we just went to a really cute alien shop and got a bunch of alien stuff.
Right. Alien Center. Right.
The Alien Center.
It's right on the road.
Which is really the only thing around here.
Yeah. It's barren rock and...
Yeah. My kind of people. And then we're actually technically in the middle of a triangle.
It's called the Nevada Triangle.
Okay.
It's actually got more disappearances than the Bermuda Triangle does.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's got... I looked it up. It's got over 2,000 disappearances. That's from hikers, planes, what have you. Where Bermuda Triangle only has 200 disappearances. So it's got 10 times as much.
Bermuda Triangle only has 200?
Yeah, that's from what I read anyways.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, so the Nevada Triangle goes from Las Vegas to Reno to Fresno, and to one other point.
Up to Oregon?
Yeah, no,
or not that far?
That's pretty much a triangle.
Okay.
So, I don't know, you can look it up. I think it's right here at the back of the last page, I think. Yeah, so it's a pretty big area. It takes in all the mountain range, a little bit on a little bit in California, and a little bit in Nevada. So it covers quite a big area. I don't know how many miles it is, but what's the triangle? So the 3 points.
Basically around Las Vegas,
Reno,
up to Reno, and then down to Fresno. Yeah,
Fresno.
Right.
That's huge. Now people don't talk about it much.
And Area 51 is like in the triangle.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So that could be a part of it.
Of course it would be.
Anyway, so
imagine that. Disappearances in the area of Area 51.
Yeah, not surprised.
Nevada Triangle, the same area.
They're looking for test subjects. You'd make a good one.
Yeah, I'm glad this is a daytime drive, not a nighttime drive.
True.
I don't know, do you see those videos that sometimes in the middle of the night that aliens are walking across the street?
Yeah, I have seen those. And then a lot of the alien abductions in general are like, you're driving, it's nighttime, and a freaking orb, is chasing you or following you, and then it comes over your car, and then it's now in front of your car, and then your car gets all weird. That's a very typical road abduction, basically.
Well, they take the whole car and everybody in it.
Well, sometimes they do.
And then you have you black out, and you have this time.
Yeah.
Time lapse.
Disappear.
Right.
Lapse.
Yeah. You just don't remember what happened, and all of a sudden you're back on the road again, and it's like, oh wow,
3 hours.
Where did 2 hours?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we should be very aware of our time.
No, we should. Yeah, we should put road markers or something Yeah, we should mark our time right now, right? So just say.
Yeah. 8:30 a.m. 1 p.m. It's 1 p.m. now.
Yeah, right. Where did that go?
So our destination today, and for this trip in general, is Mount Shasta.
Right.
And it's funny because Nat was like, she's like, make sure you drive safe. And I'm like, we're not driving every day. She's like, oh, you're not? And I'm like, no. She like is getting flashbacks to our last trip.
Oh,
like every day
right.
was an 8-hour day.
Yeah, you're right.
Whereas this is so nice to be able to go
Just
to a
go
place, chill for a couple
of
days, and then come back.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful drive.
Well,
and we drive right through the redwoods. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, I didn't
The
know
redwoods are an hour and a half south of of Mount Shasta.
that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Redding and stuff. That's,
yeah.
you know,
Okay.
so
Cool.
I think we should drive at least, maybe not up from that, but to the side of that. Anyway, it's going to be beautiful, like the closer we get,
Right.
I'm sure. Just a different landscape, right?
So, can you explain your on our last trip? And do you remember who asked us to go to Mount Shasta?
Yeah, and didn't they live in
They were
Devil's? God, what is that called again? It's Wyoming.
Devil's Tower.
Devil's Tower.
Devil's Tower.
Which was also called Bear Butte, I think.
No. That was back in where Crazy Horse is.
Oh, Bear Lodge. I think it was also called Bear Lodge because Devil's Tower is like a negative term, so the indigenous call it Bear Lodge.
Yeah, but who are
the beings?
The beings that were there that were telling you that
it was the Yael.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. They're like shorter.
Right.
They have really pale skin. Like they glow. Like they almost remind me of children. That's
right.
like little glowing, beautiful, almost like angelic type children.
So did they say? So what they do you recall what they said? Did they say, other than just go visit? Did they have like a family or another portion of them that lived in Mount Shasta?
You know, I think we channeled that. We were on the road. I think we were driving California. We're on the road back, and they just came in. Like, I don't even think I channeled them at Devil's Tower. I think it was, like, on our road back.
Oh, maybe.
And I don't think we got it on tape. But, yeah, they were saying, come to Mount Shasta, come to Mount Shasta. And I'm like, guys, come on. Like, we are past it, and we're at the max capacity of what we can do in, like, 12 days.
We just, and I guess it wasn't meant to be, right?
No, not that trip. We wouldn't have, I don't think we would have had enough time.
We didn't have enough time.
But in general, if we were to just drive by it for an hour, I really feel like we just needed more time at Mount Shasta. So yeah, they said, come visit us at Mount Shasta. Like, yeah, I don't know if they were like connected to Devil's Tower and then they wanted us. They said that they were, or maybe they were in Mount Shasta and they were just calling us from Mount Shasta. But they didn't really say anything in particular other than come visit us.
So for those you've talked to that have been to Mount Shasta, what kind of experiences did they describe to you that they had? Anything out of the ordinary, or was it just a energy sensation, a vibe, or did they see anything?
I think most, like, I was telling you earlier that like a ton of people in the community, in the spiritual community, are all drawn to Mount Shasta. Like, it is definitely a destination, and because I know a lot of people in California, I mean, they've all been, right? So what I've heard, a couple of their experiences have been like weird time dilation stuff. So either speeding up of time, slowing down of time, massive amounts of activations. I have heard stories of people like climbing the mountain, and then at the top of the mountain is like a portal or a gateway, and then there are beings there who greet them. Like, I've heard some pretty crazy stuff, all the way to people just going and feeling the energy like you would go to Sedona and feel the energy. A lot of people have like UFO sightings. So there's a wide range of how freaking intense it could be.
Yeah. No, and I've read stories about the explorers that were there, the miners, the geo guys that were there.
And I think we watched that video together. Didn't they find like ancient Egyptian stuff inside?
Lemuria, which is
right.
like
ancient civilization.
It was a part of a group from Atlantis, I believe.
Yep.
That either, I don't know if anybody survived Atlantis destruction from Atlantis when it was destroyed, but those who were Atlantean that were not in the city or in the area when it did explode or get destroyed, they went off into different countries, and I think that's where you get the similar technologies and similar sculptures and things from Atlantis in different countries, parts of the world that were found. The foundation is from Atlantis because those people were remnants of.
Well, from what I've channeled, there were quite a few Atlanteans who knew that Atlantis was going down.
Exactly.
Very similar to a lot of indigenous tribes all over the planet who knew a cataclysm was going to come, who knew a great flood was going to come, pole shift, ice age, whatever you want to call it, and they ended up leaving their, there's 30,000 Mayans just disappeared. Like, where did they go, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that they went underground. I think it's a very similar thing of maybe there was a shaman, maybe there was a messenger who kind of relayed that information. Maybe the Atlanteans were just tapped in enough to know, you know what, shit's going down, we better get out of here. And they ended up leaving.
Yeah, and there was factions. The reason, and anybody can talk about this, but I mean, because there's such a disagreement between different factions in Atlantis that one was power hungry, wanting technology, wanting more power, wanting more control. Another faction saying no, we don't, because it could be destructive. It could be, it's too much. It's not what we're here meant to be and what we represent. And I think, and then those are the ones who left, saying, hey, this is too much. You guys are gonna, and so
kind of didn't agree with the way that things were going. That makes sense.
The leadership there, as humanity does today, right?
Exactly.
So it's humans are tough beings to be a part of an experience.
Oh my God,
it's we're not. What's that saying that we're not humans having a spiritual experience? We are spirits having a human experience.
Exactly.
Right. And those who decide to come here, like us, it's such a challenge, and because there's so much chaos in humanity, right, all the time, and even today.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be worse today. I mean, you've got stuff going on in Iran, you've stuff going on with Russia, you've stuff going on with Ukraine. I mean, not just little stuff. I mean, you got wars, you got killings, and it's just humans are brutal.
Yeah.
They the appreciation of life, and and so I always wondered when you talked about white hats,
Yeah.
are they like just a select group of humans that are here as guardians, or do they have a purpose, like a saviorship type of purpose here, as well as starseeds, as well as light workers, as well as, I mean, is this...
Yeah, I think, and it's tough because since I've learned that term, there's something in me that doesn't resonate with that.
Okay.
The term, anyway.
Right.
But there's definitely a group of people who are here who are meant to shift the planet, right? Who are here to, and I think white hats in particular refers to when I think white hats, I think a group of shadow government officials, which are the opposite of the shadow government, but the good guys.
Okay.
but I think more political roles.
Right.
I think they're more like indoctrinated within society, here to change society. But then I think, what's the difference between Galactic Federation volunteers and white hats? I just don't think there is one.
Okay.
And then it makes me think, with a starseed, most starseeds, most people who are volunteers, most souls who are volunteers who come here to incarnate to change things, they, for most of their lives, usually, they don't know who they are or why they're here. So there's like a huge unknown, but they know that they're here for a reason, and they usually get into a position of helping and serving. So I think that there's a huge faction of white hats, good guys, volunteers, starseeds, whatever you want to call them, who are integrating into society. And we're, like I've said this before, like, we need high vibrational doctors, we need high vibrational lawyers, we need high vibrational politicians. Like, a lot of people in the community are like, well, I can't do my corporate job anymore because it's not serving the new earth frequency. And I let them know, we need as many of you within the system to change the system as possible. So I think that there's a lot of people who are in certain positions who have not yet fully awakened to their purpose, but they're getting triggered slowly but surely. And I hope that they stay in those positions as long as it serves them to really change the vibration of the inner workings of the system,
So do you think the world, the disruption in the entire world as we see it today, is sole purpose is part of that change?
Absolutely, 100%. Like, the timeline that the Galactic Federation gave me back in 2017 was 2020 to 2024 was supposed to be the downfall of the old system, of the 3D world. Tearing it down. I mean, here we are. We're like end of 2022, and holy shit, like, talk about it, right? Like, I said that one Christmas, I'm like, 2020 is going to change the world forever.
Yeah.
And, And and it did.
Is one of the milestones of that in the death of Queen Elizabeth?
I think so. I think that's a huge, huge milestone of that.
I mean, tearing down that control and that.
She had a lot of power, and I know when I say that to just the average person, they're like, but she didn't, because she was just a
monarch, like a figurehead, right?
A figurehead, exactly, without any real power.
To the public eye, right?
But think about it, like, she went to, I think it, like, some stat was like, she did 500 events in 360 days every single year in different countries. So she is mingling with other politicians. It's the networking, it's the connections, and those are the connections that take an entire lifetime to form, that no other political figure, no other trust fund baby who has money and power has those kind of connections. And I think that on the back end of things, who cares about the front end? But on the back end of things, she was wielding a lot of strength, a lot of power, and
a lot of influence.
And I think that was influence within the shadow government, reptilian sort of agenda type of thing. So that's huge. And now, I mean, I'm not even going to get into everything else, but we see a lot of the sex traffickers, a lot of the politicians, a lot of even big financial moguls who are all getting exposed right now. A lot of celebrities who are all getting exposed. This guy, Aaron Carter, just ended up dying, and he was linked to, like, they tried to pay him off to say that Michael Jackson touched him as a little boy, but he didn't want to do it. Like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff being revealed and unpacked right now, and I think there's also a lot of people getting killed off for not wanting to participate in it anymore. Which is actually exactly what I predicted in 2021 about 2022, is that there's going to be continuous exposure, continuous breaking down, and a lot of, like, unforeseen or sudden deaths, because there are individuals who don't want to participate in the system anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 2024 as what? The kind of...
Yeah, so it's not great news. I really...
No, from between here now, 2022, to 2024.
The next 2 years.
Is still the tear down, breakdown, chaotic planet world that we live in. So when do we kind of start coming out of it? Are we going to come out of it? Start coming out of it? 24?
That's what I thought, right? This is what I'm saying. Back in 2017, I'm like, fantastic. I can get through 4 years of chaos and destruction, because on the other side, we're going to step into 5D and it's all going to be great, and we're going to have a brand new world. And you know what I've heard.
So what's the update?
The update, and they told me this, I think in 2020. What's the next step?
Yeah.
There's another 4-year cycle, which is between 2024 and 2028, which is the year of. Okay, it's gonna feel like another battle, but it's not. So 2020 to 2024, the collapse of the old world energy frequency.
It's currently happening.
It's happening.
We're in the middle of it.
Yes.
Right.
And then what's going to happen is there's going to be a push and a pull between the new, let's call it new Earth, or solutions for the new Earth, and the old Earth, old world, trying to continue to vie for power. So that's 2024 to 2028. By the end of 2028, we should see massive amounts of solution, environmental, economic, educational. There should be a lot of things that are exposed. Basically, we should feel like, oh my God, we're finally making progress. But we're not going to really even feel that until 2028. Which, once again, I kind of expected. 2024, we did our work. Let's go. And
but
that's not a crazy timeline for a complete change in an entire planet that's been run a very certain way for a very long time.
No,
right?
It
takes a while to make that kind of change.
I mean, it's what was I going to say? Because humanity's foundation is free will, right?
Yes.
And the thing I appreciated in this space for channelers, clairvoyants, psychics, is the fact that you can have a session, and that day, that moment, this is what your life is, what your perspective is. You walk out that door from a session, boom, and you make a decision that all of a sudden changes your direction. So all your choices change, all your future kind of changes with each and every decision you make. So, and that's obviously true for the whole planet, right? I mean, and the world. So that's something that we all need to appreciate. In fact, that you told me I'm going to be, not you, but I mean, people would come out and saying, well, I was going to marry this, beautiful, handsome guy, but in the years that followed, or the months that followed, you decided to go down a different path, and you never met this person.
But it's part of the beauty of humanity that we have that free will, but it's also part of the
I know
the fucking downfall of humanity that we have free will.
Double-edged sword, right?
It is, because we're getting manipulated. This is the whole plot, right? We have been manipulated to utilize our precious free will to feed fear and greed. So that's the whole thing, right? That the elites have power over us to manipulate us to make decisions. They can't force us to make a decision, but they can manipulate our environment, our landscape.
To make those choices thinking it's free will.
Exactly.
But you're dangling, they're
You're
dangling
free.
carrots.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like America, the land of the free. even that as a saying is blatant manipulation, to think that, oh, we're free. We got free choice, and this is,
Well, you do. You got a free choice to make a bad decision, and you got a free choice to make a good decision, right? It's the understanding of what you value, right and wrong, good or bad.
Yeah, and unfortunately, our value system has been totally skewed.
And that's, Schoolhouse Earth, here we are, right? I mean, that's the lessons we come back to understand and appreciate and make either better choices. I mean, and karma is either good or bad, right? I mean, you can have good karma, you can have, I guess, bad karma.
Yeah.
The lessons you need to learn, I guess. It's, but it's, humanity's tough, man. It's just, it's a challenge. Especially if you run a life of bad luck or what have you, but manifestation is a pretty powerful thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's being conscious enough to utilize our free will to our benefit. And that manifestation is just free will. It's just utilizing free will. That's really what it comes down to. And sometimes our free will doesn't align to our destiny, so we push and we push and we push and we push, and it's just not aligned. The timing just isn't right. So it's a fine line between free will and destiny.
So here's the thing I've always been, trying to understand.
Yeah.
So before you pick and choose before you incarnate into the human experiment,
right,
the human experience, you come back to planet Earth. However, you pick the blueprint of your life. So essentially, this kind of blows my mind. Essentially, every choice you make is already predestined.
Okay, so, no.
Right. I mean, it's a blueprint. I've come back, no matter if I say, okay, because it's already ordained, right?
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay, go ahead.
So, this actually, I was just thinking about this the other day, clarifying this balance between free will and destiny, right? So your destiny or fate, whatever you want to call it, is your blueprints, it's your contracts, it's what you created before you came in here.
Correct.
Yes. But you also have free will in the present moment to change anything, and it takes a hell of a lot of free will to change something like a blueprint or a contract, because they're quite heavy and set in stone, and we create those blueprints without ego, without limitation, really, right?
Right.
So, but here's the interesting part. I used to believe that every single part of my entire day was set in stone as a contract or a blueprint. Therefore, I was reading into every single moment of my day. So I would reach for a glass of water on my desk, and I would knock over a blue pen, and I'd be like, oh my God, what does this mean? I'm getting a message from the universe, because this is a part of my destiny that this goddamn blue pen knocked over, right? And it wasn't, right? We could read into everything and gain a lesson from everything, because I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. However, what I've really come to understand within my spiritual maturity is that our blueprints or contracts are not created on an everyday basis. As a matter of fact, you may go 3 months without encountering something on your blueprint or path. Waking up, eating food, going to work, none of that is a part of your blueprints. That is all up to your free will. However, that one day where everything aligns and it's like, boom, I'm seeing 11:11, and this came in perfect timing and this was amazing, and then you're driving and you end up hitting a curb, right? And you're like, oh my God, like that was so crazy. My day was so aligned. Like, why would this like crazy random thing happen out of nowhere? And it turns out it was all in alignment to make sure that that blueprint did happen that day, because that was a contract and a lesson. So I tend to find that blueprints or contracts are more significant moments of our life that have an impact on us and change us at some level.
Okay,
basically.
So from how can we discern what's a blueprint and what's our robotic everyday living?
So it's how much of an impact is something like getting up and eating an apple to you?
Yeah.
Are you?
But that could be very impactful to some people and zero impact to other people.
It doesn't matter what it is, right? There's no set in stone of this thing is definitely a blueprint and this thing isn't.
Okay.
If it's impactful to you, if you bite into an apple and there's a worm and you have a reaction and you're like, what the hell? Like, wow, life is so precious and here's this life inside life, or whatever it may be. That's impactful to you. That was contracted so that you can learn something. And typically when we're building up to a big contract or an experience that was already set in our blueprint, that's when we get a lot of synchronicities. That's when we get a lot of alignments. Even if it turns out to be a really quote-unquote shitty thing or challenging thing, there's usually a lot of alignment leading up to it because it's something that was always meant to happen.
Interesting.
Yeah. So once again, like, you may have 5 contracted things a year, or if you have a lot of contracts that you got to fulfill in your lifetime, you may have 25 contracted things per year of getting a book deal or signing a contract or changing your job or meeting that new person or whatever.
But does that depend on your level of, I'm not going to call it awakening, but vibration, frequency in your human? Like, I mean, does that?
No. I don't think
does
so.
Does that matter? What?
Because I've met incredibly high vibrational individuals who are on their last life, who are not spiritual teachers. They're very connected. Not teachers. They're retired. They're enjoying their best life. It's a very leisurely life. There's nothing major going on, and they want it that way, but they're extremely high vibration. So I don't think that your vibration impacts the amount of contracts that you have. I think what you pre-planned impacts how many contracts you have. Like, one of the first psychics I went to, or I guess one of the many psychics I went to when I was younger, I think it was like 18 or something. It was like a psychic fair in Hamilton. And this lady taps into my energy and she's like, oh my God. She's like, you know that image of like a scroll that just like endlessly rolls out? She's like, these are your blueprints for your life. And she's like, I want to let you know that you have so many contracts, you have so many blueprints. She's like, you have so much that you as a soul want to accomplish in this lifetime. She's like, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to get done it all. And it almost brought tears to my eyes. And part of it was like, oh my God, thank you for saying that, to relieve the pressure that I felt for doing it all. And then part of me was like, wait, but I want to do it all. Don't tell me I'm not going to do it. I shouldn't do it all because I got to do it all. And at that point in time, I wasn't a psychic myself. I wasn't. I hadn't stepped into that mission. And now I look back and I'm like, I feel like every year of my life is like 10 years of just a normal person because there's so much going on, you know? But if we think about your everyday, why would you write contracts for Mike at 62 to do these things, to make coffee 3 times a day? You know, it's just like, no,
mundane, very. It's
but it's
looking after your human, right?
But it's that space in between your big contracts. Maybe you have one big contract every 3 months, and what do you do within those 3 months? Do you just kind of sit back and chill out and wait for the universe to hit you with the next thing, which some people do? Or do you be proactive? And some people are too proactive, like myself, of like, this is what I want, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm creating. And I even believe that you can push some contracts along further if you're intentional about manifesting.
Yeah, but I mean, if you had the awareness of what your contracts were or are, would you not be more? I think I would be saying, "Oh, okay, this is my blueprint, my contracts. I got to be here. I got to be doing this. I got to accomplish this. I got to work on this."
Right.
As opposed to you're kind of living your life and your day to day, and you're kind of waiting for the moment a contract shows up. Maybe it doesn't. I would say, give me the list, right? Let's just, do it.
But it's funny because I've explored this a lot, right? With let's call it like your mission.
Right.
Okay, and so one of the biggest things that I struggled with right at the beginning, and one of the things that I think a lot of starseeds struggle with is like, what's my mission? I need to know. And I've covered this in my own topics, and then Dolores Cannon covers this as well. And a lot of people ask Dolores Cannon of why amnesia? Why this human amnesia that we have when we come in? Why can't we remember all our past lifetimes? Why can't we remember?
All the time.
Because wouldn't it make life so much easier? Wouldn't it just...
And also, wouldn't humanity advance?
Oh my God, exponentially.
And I heard some explanation of it about, you got to relearn your lesson from a blank slate. Meaning, like, you do have, it's funny, because, I don't know if a lot of people know about past life regression, but I mean, it's, you're the sum of all your past lives, right? So, right now. So, regression is like helping you remember. Like, it's in you right now, right? It's not, you don't go anywhere.
Exactly.
It's your subconscious. You just are blocked out of it. Like you're saying, right? When you're born, you're starting from zero. And that's intentional. And then, but to the advancement of the human, I think if I had 100 past lives and I remember them all, it might be kind of true. And I think the excuse I heard, and I think it was Dolores Cannon saying, it might be too traumatic for the human mind to integrate all those past lives into your current existence. But I think that's selling us short, though, right? Of our capacity as well.
I think that's part of it, but I think that there's a much bigger part as to why we have the amnesia and why we...
right.
Oh my God. Okay. And why we forget, and why it's important to forget, including our mission. So it's not even just where were we before, but it's also where are we going now in this lifetime. And I think a big part of it is, okay, like being a human and being on planet Earth is like a master class. We've heard that before. Like what the Galactic Federation has told me is like, this is your PhD here. This is not a rudimentary, third dimensional, type of life. Like this is not, it was never meant to be simple. And you really do have to be an old soul to be able to be here and exist here. And so I really think that we're here to like listen and surrender and trust long enough that we remember. Like I think a big part of it is about remembering. It's kind of like...
Well, that's the awakening.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you go from grade 8 to grade 9, are you going to remember everything from grade 8? If you go into grade 9, but you already have all the information from all of the other grades, and you forget it all, are you strong enough? Are you resilient enough? Are you aware enough? Are you in tune enough to receive all the information without having the cheat notes in front of you? It's like one big test, I feel like.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, right, like we're hybrid beings. We have literal, like, different interdimensional DNA within us. And a lot of us have no idea we are hybrids. A lot of us have no idea we have these traits within us. And it's the same thing. You don't necessarily need to know, oh, I'm Arcturian, to bring out those Arcturian traits. You just need to listen and trust and expand and raise your vibration, and the context, the information, everything will come through without having to know specifically that detail. It's like triggering an awakening without having the cheat notes. Like, once again,
I mean, there's so much to a human being, literally being, that I think if we knew, if we were allowed or permitted to come into this existence with prior knowledge instead of just a totally a clean slate. Now, I don't know if that's we're coming here, especially those who are coming here like starseeds or you know, the high frequency alien beings coming here to help, right? And they should now either coming as an extraterrestrial, as a entirely different being than a human, but if you're incarnated as a human from an Arcturian or a Palladian, I think that human should have the benefit of that being's love and that being's contribution to humanity, totally totally available to them. Because then they can apply that right away. I don't know. Where? Like, you know, you got Palladian humans that have no clue.
Yeah, I know, but all of those Palladian humans and other beings all have spirit guides who are around them, who are constantly supporting them. And sometimes they're not aware enough or listening enough to wake up to the support. It's like you just want to hand it on a silver platter without doing the work.
What do you mean? I did the work. I had 100 lifetimes before this. I mean, how much more work do you need to do? You know, it's you know, it's really, and for a long time I always believed that we need to connect the conscious with the subconscious, because the subconscious, and you can describe it any way you want, but it's really the keeper of who you've been, and it's your past lives, and it's everything you represent. And if we can unlock that door, which, and again, you can translate that to an awakening or to what have you, I think it would just blow everybody's mind about, holy cow, I was whatever, right? And this is my experience, this is my life. Or in my DNA, you know, I've got, you know, Arcturian, Palladian, reptilian, whatever, and I can utilize that, I can tap into that. And then be more of a benefit to humanity with that energy.
Well, you know, it's funny that you bring this up, because in my very last Galactic Federation Summit, which was 11/11, one of my questions was, how do humans cure disease and basically heal our physical body? And we had a being come through, and he was saying that each one of us has a higher percentage of interdimensional species based on our lineage than others, right? Like, you may have Pleiadian and I might have Anunnaki or something, right? Like, based on where, well, I mean, you and I would have very similar, because we come, you know what I mean, I'm your daughter, right? But I'm saying, like, you know, you and your neighbor may come from totally different places.
Correct.
Now, what's really interesting is they were saying that these days people are meeting from all over the world, and they're mixing their genetics. And this is, they said that it's a really, really good thing that they're doing this, because the more
diverse
of a petri dish you are, essentially, and we're not just talking about from around the world, we're talking about from around the universe, the more diverse you are, the more you have the ability to fight off certain things. They said that really, really pure, like, species or lineages, bloodlines on planet Earth, like, if all Russians just married Russians and that was it for 10 generations, then they're going to be very susceptible to certain diseases.
Sure.
But they said from a species level, there are certain species that are more sensitive to, say, the sun than others. Therefore, they're more susceptible to getting melanoma or some sort of skin cancer than others, and so on and so forth, right? And this is at a species level. So they did really encourage mixing genetics, which was good. And then they also said that this is a really good time for us to figure out what species genetics we have within us, so that we can heal ourselves by understanding that information. And then I said, how are we supposed to know?
Right.
And they said to ask the question, or to make a statement, okay, universe, okay, spirit guides, okay, higher self, I am now ready to empower myself, or whatever, with the knowledge of understanding what physical species I'm connected to, so that I can better align my health, or whatever, right? You can change the words, but, making that statement, and then to really listen to the information coming back into your reality, because they said, less than 10% of their communication with us is verbal. And as human beings, we are just all expecting, an Arcturian being to be like, I am an Arcturian, listen to me. And it's not that way, right? Like, it might be a video that pops up. It might be an article. It might be a conversation that you have with a stranger, and they're like, I'm Syrian. I'm like, I don't know what that is. And they're like, you should check it out. And then you're like, oh my God, I asked that question last week. Like, maybe this is something, right? So it's funny that we're talking about this, because they're saying that we can really empower ourselves with the knowledge. But then it gets quite confusing, because we have physical DNA from them, from different areas of the world and different seedings of species, depending on the different areas of the world. And then we have souls that are also connected to different vibrations from different species. So it's not always the case that your soul is Pleiadian and your body is Pleiadian. Sometimes your body's Anunnaki and your soul is angelic. And it's totally different. And so actually in my book, I have a whole chapter on going into, here are the 5 different species, and here are all of the different physical characteristics. You may look like this if you're connected to this. You may feel like this. Your body type might be like this if you're connected to this physically. And then I went into the energetic and the spiritual traits of the 5 most common species around planet Earth. Your personality might be like this if you're connected to this. Then you're empowered in knowing, I am an Anunnaki body and a reptilian mind, or whatever, reptilian soul, right? And you have both of those connections.
So, is one of the purposes of creating humans, based on what you said, is to resolve the chaos in the universe?
100%. Did you see the trail? The trail on at the end? That I'm owning that 100% right there. And I heard that before, and I can understand that. But on the flip side of that, so that makes us, I'm not going to say powerful is not the right word, but it makes humanity's that so important. Yes,
humans,
absolutely.
Humans, not humanity. Humans so important. Where on an everyday scale of a human person going to work, getting a coffee at Starbucks, boom, go home, watch a movie, and that's your day. And you're going, okay, so EA's telling me that human beings are that important to the universe. We've got a multitude of DNA entanglements, unknown DNA strands that are, could be alien. They call them alien, maybe more to the point they are. And where we've come from a past of possibly alien existence, ETs from other planets and worlds, So we were created with that intention in mind to help with the... And funny, I just kind of caught that I said chaos of planet Earth,
Right.
but the chaos of the universe.
Yes.
You know, I was so disappointed when I came to the realization that, you know, I always believed,
Yeah.
you know, not GFL, but other races and
The universe was better.
Was better. Oh my God!
Me too.
So does that not almost make sense that we get dropped into a human being?
Yeah.
To experience and witness and be a part of the intentional chaos of this planet, because the other edge of the sword is the free will of these human beings for power, for greed, for what have you. And the idea of mixing the DNA, human DNA, with all these other, you know, the Greys and the Anunnakis and the Palladians and the Reptilian mix, because that solution, the individual Palladian, the individual Reptilian, the individual races that are just pure blood that way aren't getting it done in the universe, because the universe is chaotic.
Yes.
So you drop all these DNA mixes into a human being. So they got a little bit of this,
of everything. The way that it was posed to me is like, we're essentially the children of some of the highest vibrational and most advanced species in the universe, and we're also the children of some of the lowest vibrational species in the universe. And we have to experience all polarity in order to go out there, because one of our greatest downfalls was Atlantis. We were given everything. We had all knowledge. We had all of our memories. We had our knowledge of our purpose. We had technology advancements. We had medical advancements. We had spiritual advancements, and we fucked it up. We didn't understand the consequence of not having it, of utilizing it in the wrong way. By human beings going through the dark ages, by human beings being manipulated and taken advantage of, and when we wake up to the fact of like, holy shit, we were just taken advantage of by some really dark, manipulative beings, and like, I wasn't actually myself, and now what can I do with this power in having my free will and utilizing it for good, right? And you get to make that choice now in understanding both dark and light. I think that's what it really comes down to.
Wow. Yeah, it's funny. So I'm just... you mentioned dark and light. Well, you know, some of the belief out there is there is no bad, there is no good, there is no dark, there is no light. It's all one.
Right.
So I have a hard time understanding that concept, because as a human, you gotta look at all the, I call it evil in this planet, evil in this world. How can I not? And I know there needs to be a balance, but I think it's human beings that coined good guys, bad guys, dark and light, in order to justify what decisions other humans are making. Because there is no dark and light.
You're right and you're wrong. Because that's what I thought. I was so ignorant to believe that polarity only exists on planet Earth. We're like fucking so dividing. And this is where I was so keen to believe that, why would there even need to be a galactic federation if there's peace in the universe? Why would there need to be an organization that keeps things in line if everything's in line, because everything's just perfect and unified? I really believed that the rest of the universe was unified.
Well, so
why would there be war? Why would there be division? Why would that? Come on, you guys! You guys are divine beings, and you know you're divine beings.
What the hell?
So
exactly.
There is such a thing as unification. There is such a thing as like everything all in one, and like unity, equality. Like there's such a thing as no separation. Okay, and that is pure source energy. But everything outside of God frequency or source frequency is divided. The second that you decide to separate from source, you are entering into a polarizing, and really it's a dualistic universe. Is when you think about quantum physics and you think about astrophysics, it's duality. Everything in this entire universe, everything within physics and quantum physics is dualistic. It's a binary system that we live in. So light and dark, which is really just high vibration and low vibration, doesn't just exist here. We have 12 dimensions in this universe and an infinite number of parallel realities and timelines within each of those dimensions. And each dimension's at a different vibrational frequency level. Like there is difference, there is separation out there, and unfortunately it doesn't get better. And that's why we're here to help resolve some of those issues. Like, I really think of human beings as the Superman. You know the Superman story?
Yeah.
Before Superman even knew that he was an alien who had superpowers to help save planet Earth. But instead, we are the superheroes of the universe, and we are getting manipulated and taken advantage of and distracted before we even know our power. And that's why our reality right now is centered around going to work, utilizing all our energy to make money, and then being so fucking exhausted that all we want to do is entertain ourselves with bullshit television, so that we're preoccupied and thinking that that's our only purpose.
100%. Exactly. Yeah. No, and
that's the whole scheme. That's the whole matrix. That's the manipulation. Is look over here, look over here.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Which is like, I just want to speculate here, right? Like, and it was at one point, like, even though we do have a lot of war, a lot of chaos, a lot of famine still going on, and like stuff like that.
Right.
We're at a more peaceful time on planet Earth than really we ever have been before, and that's like scientifically, like that's the statistic that we're
really,
yes, that we're in a time of peace right now globally, which is ridiculous to think, but it's true. It's compared to our history, right?
Wow.
So what the elites have done before is war as a form of distraction.
Which is going on now.
No, yes, but we're talking like world wars.
Okay, wow.
But what happened is that people got so pushed to the point of war and destruction and fear that they actually ended up having multiple awakenings throughout those periods.
So it actually was a trigger.
It was a trigger. Which was what I think 2020 was for a lot of people, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
So that's why I think that their main goal, their main tactic, the thing that has actually been working is not fear, war, and destruction. It's dumbing us down. It's making us think that our choice is, we have the free will to choose entertainment.
Right.
To distract us from how powerful we are.
Exactly. No, it's true. But as as a human being, and I'm going to continue to say this because, listening to in one light, we are so important. So we have so much potential. We have, but I think there's a frustration that comes into a lot of people, starseeds and light works of light, to actualize that potential.
Yes.
Right? Okay. All right, I understand that. I do believe.
Yeah.
Well, where the hell is it? Like, where do I pull that from me?
Right.
Like, how do I extract that? I want to help more. I want to.
Yep.
And I guess part of your answer originally was, put the question out there. See, say that you're ready to receive and be a part of it, and to kind of like manifest that information.
The one of the what do I call it? one of the pieces of advice that I hear over and over and over again from the Galactic Federation is to make sure that we are not distracting ourselves with outside information and tools, which is so ironic and funny coming from me, who is a spiritual teacher, who's saying, listen to this video, but also don't listen to the video because listen to yourself, right?
Right.
And I always laugh when I mention those kind of things, and I really believe it. It's like, I want you to find this information for yourself, but for right now, it's okay to access it from me, but I also want to make sure that you're not only doing that, you know?
Right.
And so, just like things like social media and television and movies are all and video games especially, right, are all distracting us from our power. I also believe that once we start stepping into our power, we get into the spiritual community and we open our eyes, and then you have those people who are like, well, this weekend I'm doing my Reiki certificate, and then next week I'm doing my yoga teacher training, and then after that I'm a vegan chef, and then after that and it's like, it's great to explore all the modalities, but we also need to realize that all of the tools, all of the information you already have. You don't need fancy crystals.
No,
you don't need expensive courses. You don't need to follow any spiritual teacher in order to gain access to the information that's within you.
Yeah.
And what is the thing that is always going to link someone from where they are right now, consuming outside information, and aligning it to their inside vibration is one word, which is trust. It's what it comes down to. That is always going to be the missing link.
Trust? What do you mean?
Trust in themselves. Yeah. If you're unsure about your own connections and you don't think that you're connected and you don't really believe that you're psychic, then you're always going to go to the next best crystal. You're always going to go to the, you know, the spiritual teacher. You're always going to read the book because you don't think that you have it within you. The thing that people are missing the most these days is trust. And I think the thing that always takes us away from trust is that we have quick access to information and resources and tools and this other word, conveniences. You no longer have to meditate for 2, 3, 4 years on a mountaintop in Tibet in order to become spiritually realized. You pop on YouTube, stick on a couple of videos, and you've got the knowledge of the universe at your fingertips. So why do the work to find it yourself? That, I think that's the problem. You know what I mean? It's like it's easier to get it from someone else than to really get it yourself, because it takes time to trust that within yourself.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. I mean, I believe in yourself, right?
Absolutely, exactly. Truly believe that you have access to that.
Right. I mean, an example would be, and I'm going to go back to, regression.
Yep.
Yes, you can go and have somebody take you through a session, be regressed, blah, blah, blah. But you can self-regress.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can do that yourself, and if unless people believe that or say, what do you mean? Don't I need to, it's regret. And again, going back to my earlier point about, listen, you have all your past lives in you. All the person's that's doing the regression is helping you remember.
Exactly.
Right? You're not going anywhere. You're just tapping into your subconscious, which is you all along.
Yep.
I mean, so you can do that yourself.
Exactly.
But you got to learn to either meditate. It's got to be you got to believe and trust in yourself that you can do it, and practice.
Yep.
Right. Listen.
Well, it was just like when I went to that. It wasn't a retreat. It was like a spiritual festival with indigenous tribes in Panama. And I talked to this girl who was all pissed off that she paid good money for a peyote or ayahuasca ceremony, and she didn't have an ego death. And she's like, I paid for an ego death, and I'm kind of sitting there almost shocked at her mindset. And I told her, I said, you can have an ego death without taking plant medicine. And she didn't believe me, and we both got frustrated at each other, and I was like, Yeah, do the work. Don't show up to a vortex like Sedona. Don't show up to a crystal. Don't show up to a spirit guide. Don't show up to the Galactic Federation. Don't show up to plant medicine saying, do the work for me. It's not gonna happen that way.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's not to say that you.
Right. You can't utilize tools as long as you understand that there are stepping stones and they aren't the end destination.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And
well, I mean, you can go to those places. You can go to Tibet. You can go to the pyramids. You can go to Sedona.
But also do your own work.
But just for the experience, right?
Yeah.
Experience the vortex. Experiencing. Yes. Yeah, I mean,
not to expect that it's going to give you something that you don't already have.
But don't use it as a crutch.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. I know. I say it all the time. I'm now catching. I've literally said it 5 times in the last hour. 100%.
But it's true. It's so simple, but it's so. I don't know why
it
humans.
Feels complex because there's so much going on around us. And it's like, but there's so many other things that we could do than just meditate. You know what I mean? And and a lot of people expect or assume that it's always been really quick for me to tap in, right? Because they see me now and they see me channeling, and it's like a minute under, and I've got 30 minutes of information, right? And I have to remind people, when I first started, I would have a friend, because I just did sessions for free, just to practice. I'd be sitting there with someone looking at me. Their eyes are open, my eyes are closed. I'm sweating. And all I can think of is, oh my God, they're expecting this profound information and I don't really have anything for them and I'm not getting anything and my mind's freaking out. And I just had to trust. I had to sit there long enough. I had to trust long enough to get to a point where I'm like, okay, a red ball. Oh my God, does that make sense to you? Was it resonate? No? Oh my God, okay. All right, let me go back in. 30 minutes later, more sweating, more nervousness. To get to the point now where I can just shut off the whole world and zone in on exactly what I want. But it took many years of getting there, you know? So, and probably many lifetimes.
Many years of believing and trusting.
Of trusting, exactly. Right. And not going to a mentor. No one taught me how to channel. I needed to experience it for myself. And one of the other things that the Galactic Federation says often these days is, if you want to be an energy healer, if you feel like that's part of your purpose, that's fine, but don't be a Reiki practitioner just because Reiki's out there. Create your own energy healing. Like, you could get a Reiki certificate, but then create your own thing. I'm Samantha Jones and I'm a quantum energy healer. That's not a practice that you learned. That's something that's innately you. Like, we're all these pieces of the puzzle. We don't need to be feeding off of what other people have already created. You know what I mean? So it's a fine line right now between, for me as a teacher and a student, how do I teach someone a practice that I do without teaching them and indoctrinating them into a routine or a ritual? Because everyone's like, EA, teach me how to astral travel. And I'm like, but you may astral travel such a different way than I do.
And you've already been astral traveling, by the way, when you're sleeping.
Exactly, you're already doing it. You're already doing it. And the same thing with channeling. Like, you're already a psychic, so how do I just... It's like, show up and say, you're already doing it, mic drop, bye-bye, thanks for the, you know what I mean, the $20. Like, it's just, it's hard to teach something that is innately within all of us and that we all need to find within ourselves. It's almost like I need to teach a course on how to find it within yourself, whatever it may be. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
well, that was a nice chat. Thank you very much for that.
Good.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed that awesome video with me and my dad at Mount Shasta. Once again, check out the membership for more content and the other 2 videos to the series. And like I mentioned, like this video, smash the share button, and be sure to subscribe for more. Bye for now.